Hi, my name is Sonia. I'm a clinic practice manager working in primary care. I've been doing that for about 10 years now. I'm currently with the University of Washington in their neighborhood clinics, and I have primary care, internal medicine, pediatrics, clinical groups like that. I've also worked for Providence Network and the VA Network in the past too, doing a similar work. Um, Right now, my practice is 6 providers. It is growing. We'll have 9 here by the end of the year because we just moved a practice across from one organization to another, so it's pretty busy. Prior to that, when I worked at Providence, I had about a little less than 100 employees reporting to me. I had supervisors and assistants as well. It kept me pretty busy. That's kind of the period of time when I decided that I needed to get back to school, get my MSN, and proceeded from there. So here we are. So I did downsize to a smaller clinic so that I could hopefully have a little more brain power for school. So just looking over some of the things that we need to talk about. I've given a talk on leadership in the past, and so I'm going to use a lot of those talking points that I've done before, hopefully not run over time in the process. But in that, embedded in that is my leadership style and really how I use that at work. And I use the box process, which I will talk about the box, and three leadership qualities that are essential. Definitely being adaptive, definitely making sure that you're using transformational leadership and many of those things that Crow and oh, what is her name? Hold on. Yoder Weiss. I don't know why I can't retain that. Reflect on quite a bit. So I will review a few of those things as well. So in general, first I like to mention that the difference between management and leadership, and that many people frown on management, and I tend to think that they can live harmoniously if it's done properly. And that manager isn't really a bad word, but we need to remember that we manage things and we lead people, not the other way around. So that's very important to remember. And leadership, though, really to be effective requires that complex adaptive approach that we read about so much. And that good leaders evaluate the strengths within their team. Great leaders evaluate the strengths in themselves. And exceptional leaders really make sure that they are putting that together and that they utilize their team in that self-reflection and request feedback from their team for their own personal growth. You have to listen and actively listen, and you have to be humble, and you have to be willing to change. I see too many leaders that really do themselves a disservice by not really integrating their team, and that's mentioned by I'm going to do it again, Yoder Weiss, in her transformational leadership section of chapter 3, for sure, about transformational leadership. And so I really, I utilize that quite a bit. I use what I call the box, and I say, here's the box. And the box comes from organizational standards, safety standards, CMS, other regulatory bodies such as Joint Commission. They define the box. How we color inside the box is up to the team. Now, encouraging your team member to use a different crayon than they have always used in the past is where leadership really comes in, giving them that strength and that trust in themselves, and they know that they're supported by their leader, that they can go out on a limb and they can try something new and innovative, and that's how we advance in healthcare. And I'm going to run out of time, so I am going to break it down real quick. First, most important for me is to know thyself. You really need to have a good grip on who you are and what your internal narrative is. Second, you need to lead by example, and that is absolutely important. Sorry, I'm flipping through some pages here. I don't want to run out of time. What else did I write down? Also, I use the acronym CARE, C-A-R-E, to treat everyone with compassion, acceptance, respect, and empathy. I treat my team that way. I expect them to treat each other that way. That way they also, at the bottom line, they treat our patients that way. And treating my employees the way I'd want the patients to be treated is very important. Third, question everything. Ask the right questions. Ask why. And make sure you're giving your team the why. I use the acronym SOAR, which is the strengths, opportunities, aspirations, and results, is how I approach many things. How I talk to my team when I do rounding once a month. We talked about their strengths, their opportunities, their aspirations, what results we've had. Fourth, it's about dialogue, not monologue. Again, being an active listener. Fifth is the box, and I talked about that. And then sixth is just do it. I mean, you can sit and monologue or dialogue or whatever you do all day long, but really it comes down to just going out on that limb, coloring with a different color crayon, and hoping for the best. And you use that as an opportunity to learn, and that's where the PDSA cycle really becomes important. So I'm out of time, but really the bottom line is that you need to listen to be a good leader, and then you need to act. Put those concepts into action. Don't just talk about it, actually do it. And again, the only way that your team is going to see you as a leader is if they can trust you, and you do not define whether or not you are a leader. Your team defines whether or not you are a leader. The organization hires you as a manager, but it is your team who determines that you are a leader. So I hope that that's helpful, and I hope everyone else has a wonderful start to this quarter. Thank you.